you so much, Lina, and thank you to GreenBuzz to invite me tonight. I'm super pleased to be with all of you. And yeah, there is a very broad topic about, new economic system or even system change, and I will try to address it quite quickly, and then we will probably, with the one with me in the breakout session later on, we can cross and continue the conversation. There is a growing trend and a growing movement of people who seek to use business as a force for good. And there is a market demand, and there is also a lot of, sorry, Lina, I can't move the slide. Yep, sir, up. Okay, now it's working. Sorry, and just as a fresh start, let's address some clear-headed and lucid view of where we are now, aside of the COVID. Okay, the COVID pop and shake and create terrible moment and situation. But let's remind that there is the planet boundaries. So the science says we are going over the planet boundaries. I will not go into detail. I don't know if you are familiar with this concept of planet boundaries, but the fact is that, our extractive way, our over-consuming behavior and unlimited use of the natural capital make that our civilization, the human civilization, create a disorder, a major disorder. So that's just for the pragmatic and clear-headed view of where we are now. And this is critical. And we need to go on every action 10 times faster. In the other side, we have also for the first time an agenda, a common agenda, the Agenda 2030. So the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that you all probably know has been signed by 193 governments. And they also claim in this announcement that we will never achieve them if corporate businesses, private sectors is not joining massively. So in one hand, we have this lucid and clear-headed view of, we need to act and to act fast. And in the other hand, we have a common agenda. And this common agenda is quite interesting because there is a lot of opportunity. So you can see the world, and I will say, if we address the question of change for our planet through possibility instead of obligation, hey, with a new narrative, we have the assets, the money is there, the knowledge is there, the engineers are there, we can make it. So we have an historical opportunity to create this new economic system and also this new way of living, I will say. So I will address the question of the system change, and this shift requires a system change. So this paradigm shift requires the system change, and for that, first we need to recognize the system failure. And I guess everyone, and especially now after the COVID, understand that we have a major system failure. So we just need to agree on that and say, okay, we recognize that. And in the other hand, we should bring and propose existence of viable alternative. And I'm going to share with you some of the initiative that B-Lab, the global NGO that is behind the B Corp movement is leading now. But first, we have to think about when we address and we talk about system change, we are talking about, moving from the 20th century shareholder capitalism designed for the few, based on an extractive process, exclusive, destructive at the end of the day, to a 21st century stakeholder capitalism that is designed for whole, for the long term, inclusive, participative to many as possible, and not even just protective or circular, but regenerative. We have to regenerate our natural capital. That's where we are now in the journey. And B-Lab have designed and integrated this approach to system change to create this viable alternative and make it scalable. So we have created a community of thousands of credible leaders, the certified B Corp, that most of you probably know. There is many of them in Germany. In Germany, you have Ecosia that is well known. Here in Switzerland, you have many of them, and in Europe, we are more than 450 B Corp. So we have to demonstrate by companies that take this credible leadership that this is possible. And B-Lab have created a series of tools to have a common reading, a common framework on where you stand in the sustainability journey. What is your contribution on the various aspects, from the operational side of the company to the impact business model. And so we've developed since now more than 12 years, the B Impact Assessment. We have launched lately the SDG Action Manager, which are tools that need to be in the hand of any company, any organization in this world, to align, their decision-making process to take into account the social and environmental issues, basically, to lead this triple bottom line with measurement and with concrete action. And then to set up this new market infrastructure, we need to inspire billions of consumers, workers, and investors to support the one that are taking this way. And today, we are seeing this movement growing exponentially, but we remain to be little. So we need to move and accelerate and go fast. And building movement strategy like tonight with GreenBuzz is the strategy, is the right things to do. Everyone can take part and everyone can play a role in that. And you can promote the right tool, you can inspire people to do the right things. And that's basically how system change happen. B-Lab have launched series, we have launched with the B Corp series of initiative, but you probably, before the COVID, understand that there were a tipping point in 2019. We probably have seen on the financial time, capitalism reset. You probably heard about the economic mentioning that, we need to rethink and rebuild and redesign and reshape the capitalism as today. There is the business CEO roundtable that happened, with those 200 CEO, largest CEO in the world that take this commitment to take in account, all the stakeholders in their action. And we respond to them with the B Corp community and we say, yes, guys, action speak, use the right framework, let's get to work. And it's an ongoing also process to just show, that there is framework that we can measure what matter and we can demonstrate and take those strategy in place and put those strategies in place and build new economics model taking into account the. So yeah, basically people are demanding better. And what we propose and what we offer in this new infrastructure market is really to move from the last 20 years with good product. So companies as good product and, they may have many certification that recognize a good product to move to a 21st century good company to keep that is holistic, that is taking account all elements of the company. And that basically is structured through 3 major pillars. The one is they get a rating, they get a score. So there is the B Impact Assessment that you can use. It's free and confidential to any one of you. And the company, when she want to become a B Corp, will need to have and reach the minimum scoreboard of 80 points, which is not easy. And then also to take in account their the new fiduciary duty. So we ask them to change their bylaw to integrate this, taking action on the social and environmental dimension too, and then to be transparent. Making it short, but this 3,300 now certified B Corp that are representing 150 sector of industry in 80 countries, we are just a drop in the ocean. We need to scale, we need to accelerate, and there is not only the B Corp community, there is not only the certified B Corp movement that is make a valuable input. There is many other movement, and we are really working on this strategy of building movement of movement with other And for that, one day, we definitely hope that everyone will join this global community of leaders to build the world that is not needed. Today, we are talking about the surviving plan of the humanity. That's really what we are talking about. So there is no question, do I have to be sustainable? We have to rethink the business model. We have to rethink the infrastructure. We have to rethink the incentive from the public policy from the government. We have to rethink everything to be more contributive, because we have definitely a very little agenda for that. 10 years, a decade of action. So I will say two last things. For this system change, we need to move, and I will make it shorter, but from basically this major culture of the more, having more, willing more, doing more, to a culture of enough. Enough. And that's the major aspect of this system change, aside of the other element that you can see on the screen. And just one before, because I'm just now reaching, I guess, my 10 minutes, just want to talk about and address some structural element of this new economic system and the system change capacity. The World Business Council for Sustainable Development provide with Build Better a research that is quite interesting. There is a potential of $12 trillion in investment that can generate 380 new jobs by 2030 to reach the SDG. That's huge. That's huge. So this is not obligation. This is possibility. This is opportunity. This is, innovation. And just to let you know, in the tier of change that we have, knowing that by 2030, 40% or 45% of the financial assets that are circulating in our economy will be in the hand of those famous millennials. You know, those famous millennials, when you read a poll that, 87% of them want to buy a good product, 70% of them want to work for a good company, sustainable, responsible. They will have the asset in hand. So they will be able to invest in this new infrastructure market, in those new companies. So sadly, this is easy. This is possible. We have the money is there. The technology is there. We need to have a culture shift. We need to change our behavior. And hopefully the COVID created this opportunity to elevate the consciousness of, the 2% of the privileged people on this earth, on this planet. And the COVID, locked down 4 billion of people. Let's hope that this have bring some learning about, our consuming behavior, about the speed of action, and so and so. You know it. So yeah, I will end here and basically say that, we are super happy to build a movement of movement strategy with GreenBuzz. I see some known face here, and basically, yes. Now we have a common dreams, and let's make it become a new reality. That's the time, and there is no other opportunity. There is no other decade for that. And whatever it happens, people will go on the street. But we should be very careful. If people get, from indignation to resignation, this is not good. So let's bring them, hope and viable alternative. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It was really great to learn a little bit more about B Lab. You mentioned your theory of change, and you also talked a bit about culture and how culture needs to change. So I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more about like how that's been going, especially in the last few months during COVID. What have been some of your biggest challenges that you've seen in kind of facilitating this culture change along your idea of a theory of change?
Yeah, so in the past months, so many things happen. Even not the COVID. If you address the question of social justice with the Floyd drama and that just make the racial all those questions of social justice on the top again. What we have seen is that we have built this community of B Corp around the Declaration of Interdependence. And what we have seen, and that's just for an hint for the sustainability practitioners that are on the call tonight on this webinar, what we have seen and what we will demonstrate hopefully soon is that the B Corp and sustainable companies, when they are turned really to their employee are more loyal, are more focused, are more responsive when crises happen. Is that what we have seen in the community? In the other end, with the global supply chain that has been shaken and stopped brutally, we have seen that those B Corp or sustainable business had better relationship with their supplier, with their value chain, and that increased their capacity to react and adapt their activity. And being well structured, definitely what happened and what we have seen. All of those B Corp has been started the week after of the lockdown in different places of the world to start a process of solidarity, supporting community, finding ways to helping the neighborhood or the community of people they're working with, and that's actually this kind of culture shift that is demonstrated right now. What does it mean? It brings what when you operate this way? When you have this license to operate, it creates business resiliency. And that's what today we can definitely more than ever demonstrate. And I know that the OCDE and other organizations have clearly made research about that, but we have the fact and figures because we are reviewing the social and performance of all of those companies. We will see in the coming months how they operate in this time. But now what we are already sure is that they will remain probably even more viable than before.
I see.
And
Okay.
that's what